Erev Tov, Rabotai. There's a very interesting Gemara, Masechet Avodah Zarah Yud Zayin. It says over there about somebody who falls into minut. Right, what does this mean? Should I wait for you?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. Somebody who falls into minut. So what does that mean? He became a Christian, became Avodah Zarah. There are people like this, that are going into this direction. Lo aleinu, Hashem yirachem. So the question is, right, what happens to this person? Once he gets into minut. So Gemara says, there's two things there. One is that he's not going to do teshuvah anymore. That's it. He's not going to come back to do teshuvah. So the question is, why is this? Number one. Number two, it says, if he does do teshuvah, even if he does, it's unlikely, but if he does do teshuvah, you know what's going to be? He's going to die very quickly. He's going to pass away. Good. Another why, right? Two questions. Why this and why that, right? That's the question. So we have to understand the psychology over here, what's going on. When a person falls into minut, he becomes a Christian. You know what happens to him, right? I'm sorry, but you're bothering me, Can you stop?
No.
Don't talk, please. Okay. Otherwise, I have to stop the class. I'm sorry. So, anyway, right, as we said, that a person who falls into minut, what happens is, that he starts to believe in Avodah Zarah. And Avodah Zarah, what does it tell you? It's okay, do what the sins you want to do, right? He forgives you. Don't worry. This idol, this false god forgives you for everything. Don't worry about it. Everything is okay. Just bring the money right to the church. Make sure you bring, right, the tithe your money to the church. You know what I mean? And he'll forgive you for everything. That's what it tells you, right? So what does a person think when he thinks like this? You know what he thinks? He says, "Oh wow, this is so good, Oh, now I can do whatever I want, I'll go out Saturday night, you know what I mean? I'll do all the sins that I want to do. I'll go to Manhattan, you know what I mean? Lots of sins over there, right? Sin City, right? I'll go over there, and then I'll come back on Sunday, I'll do confession, and God will forgive me for everything." Sure. Like this every week, Saturday night, sins, Sunday, confession, right? Go to the priest, and sit with him, confess all my sins,
Isn't it what Yom Kippur all about?
That's a question. That's a very good. This is a very good question. We have to speak about this. Just give me a second. I'm going to answer you. But the thing is like this, right? That it gives him a false hope. That he's going to be forgiven. So you know what this is? It gives you a lot of comfort. It's like, oh God, it's like a big burden off your shoulder. I'm forgiven for everything. Everything is good. I'm doing so good. Wow, this is fantastic, Saturday night I do the sin, Sunday I'm forgiven. That's it, Gamarno. I'm all good. I'm all set, right? Gives him a lot of comfort. Feels good about himself. Of course, this is all falsehood, it's all sheker. But this is what happens, So this ruins his psychology, makes him have a false hope that he really shouldn't have.
Go inside our history.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's what happens.
We're going to talk about that, but in a second, right? But what I tell you is the other thing, right? I'm going to answer your question. But here's the thing, right? Now, we said he's not going to do teshuvah. And even if he does, in other words, 99% he won't. Even if 1% he does teshuvah, he's going to die. That's what we said, right? Why is this? What's the reason for that?
What Allah says, you're not going to do it. What are you going to do?
That's what the Gemara says. Gemara says he's going to die. You know what I mean? So the question is, why? What's going on here? So we have to continue, right? The psychology over here. Psychology 101, psychology 202, right? A little bit to understand the psychology of this person. Mm-hmm. What happened? Because he's now so addicted, to having this false hope. Yeah, forgives me for everything, this guy. I mean, I'm all good, I'm all set, it's so good, life is so good. So that's why he doesn't do teshuvah, because he becomes addicted to it, You know what it's similar to? It's similar to like somebody becomes addicted to drugs, Heroin, They say heroin is very addictive. Lo aleinu, right? Don't touch that thing. Very, very addictive. People get onto that, they never get out. Their whole life, it destroys everything. There's no way to get out of that thing. Shem Yirachem. So this Avodah Zarah, it's also heroin. It makes you addicted, You think, I'm going to be forgiven for everything. I feel so good. Wow! So you get addicted like this. That's why you don't come back. We don't see you anymore in the shul. That's it, you're gone. Because you got this false hope in your heart. Ay, vay, vay. That's why people don't return when they go to this sin, minut. Now, here's the other thing. Right? We say that if he comes back, he's going to die. Not only is he going to die, but he's going to die quickly, fast. Chick-check. Why is this? So they explain, right? Rashi explains over there in the Gemara there. He says the reason why this guy dies is because he was so addicted, to this false hope, this Avodah Zarah. Now that he came out and he came back to reality. Oh, reality. I have to pay for my sins, right? It's not what I really thought. It's not what I thought. Ay, vay. Now I have to come back to reality. So you know what it is? When a person is addicted to drugs, he gets addicted, right? And then when he comes out, if he does want to come out, what happens? He gets withdrawal. This is what they call it, right? In English, withdrawal. So what does that mean? He has pains, he can't stand it. He can't stand it because he had to withdraw from this drug. Very addictive. You understand? So same thing over here as well. What happens is, he's so addicted to this drug, this Avodah Zarah, Shem Yirachem. So what happens is that now he came out, he's in excruciating pain. He's in total pain. Because now he has to come back to reality. And it hurts him very much. And this is the reason why, by the way, right, what happens is like this, right? When those guys that do heroin, they want to get out of it. You know what they do, right? They have to give them another drug. If they don't give them this drug, they're going to die. You understand? Why? Because the withdrawal is so painful. To get out of it, it's so painful, it can kill you. So they have to give them another drug. Right? I forgot the name of this drug. It's called methadol or something, whatever. They give them this drug, They give it to them. You know who gives it to them? The doctor. The city, the government gives them. Why? Because if they don't get this, they're gone. Exactly. So now you understand, right, why this guy dies. Same thing, The withdrawal of coming out is so painful. Coming back to reality, it kills you. And I can't give you anything, right? The government, methadone, right? The methadone doesn't work for this. It only works for the heroin. But for this, it doesn't work. You understand? They can't give you nothing. Nobody can give you anything. So therefore, it's like 99% he won't return. If he does, he's going to die. This is what happens to a person who goes into minut. Shem Yirachem, lo aleinu. Shem Yatzilenu. Now, getting back to your questions, right? Repeat again. What was the question?
Question is, during our history, a lot of time our Jewish nation was forced to get another religion, into Christianity.
Oh, yes.
Now, you giving them, after what you just said, giving them no escape. It's like if they become a Christian, there is no way. What about people?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a very powerful question. Very strong question. I have to tell you a couple of things, Number one is that those, we call them anusim, these people, who are forced to convert to Christianity. Like it was in Spain, in the Inquisition.
Moranos.
Right. They told me, the Spanish people don't say this word, marano. Why? Because it means pig, chazir. It's a derogatory name. So that's why we prefer to call them anusim. What does it mean anusim in Hebrew? Forced, coercion, right? Anusim. So Marano is not a nice thing. That's what they told me, the Spanish people. They said, don't say that, don't say that. It's no good. Okay, I didn't know either. You live and learn, right? Whatever. In Spanish, marano means pig. This is what it is. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, right? Here's the thing. When you're forced into something, it's not the same thing. What? Because you don't really believe it. You're just pretending, to save your life. So it's not the same thing, really, that this kind of thing. But the truth is, I have to tell you honestly, most of the people who went into Marano, they didn't come out. They stayed, Until this day, by the way, there are people descended from those families, from Spain, and most of them became goyim. They didn't come back to Judaism, most of them. Maybe 5% came back, whatever, I don't know. What 1%, I don't know. Most of them never came back.
Now,
Yeah.
lecture, they have a chance to go back or not?
The truth is, most of them did not, so 500 years already passed by, and they didn't come back. So we're getting maybe 1%, coming back. This is what it is. But I'll tell you, there's another question you asked, which I just remembered, which is about Yom Kippur, right? So this is also a very strong question. So you know what they say, right? The Goyim. They say, we have our, atonement, forgiveness. You have your forgiveness. You have Yom Kippur. Same thing. Right? Same. So the answer is it's not the same. Don't call us and you the same. We're not the same. What's the difference? I'll explain to you very simply. I'm not going to go long. We have to do Avit. I'm not going to keep you here all night. The difference is like this, right? It says in the laws of Yom Kippur, a person who says like this, right? I'm going to sin, and then tomorrow I'm going to do teshuvah. Right? You hear? So what happens to this person? They say in the halakha, he never comes back. He never does teshuvah. They don't allow him to do teshuvah. They don't let him to do teshuvah. Right? So why is that? What's the problem? Today I'll sin. Tonight I'm going to go out, find some good things over there in Manhattan. Right? Then tomorrow I'll do teshuvah. Sunday morning I'll come, right? To vidui. Chatanu, avinu, fasharnu. Right? Right? So the answer is no. This is not the way it's done. You're missing the point. What does that mean? That means that Hashem forgives you when you didn't plan to do teshuvah, but you stumbled into it. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't control yourself. You know what I mean? So you stumbled in, you fell. Then Hashem says, "Okay, come back to me. I'll take you. Don't worry. Come back. Do vidui, right? Do teshuvah. I'll take you." But this guy is not the same, right? Why? Because he's planning to do, sin. He's saying, tonight I'll go, and tomorrow I'll come. What is it? Are you planning this? What? It's a plan? Tonight you'll do the sin, tomorrow you'll come back? This is not acceptable. Hashem says, you're going to do this kind of thing? Forget about it. You'll never do teshuvah. You'll never come back. I won't allow you to come back. Your teshuvah won't be accepted. So it's a very fine line, between this and that. It's almost the same thing. But there's one thing, which is different, which is that here I stumbled into it. I didn't plan to. Here you're planning to go, Saturday night, I'm going, yalla. And tomorrow I'll do teshuvah. No, it doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? Hashem only forgives you if you didn't plan it that way, Today I'll sin, tomorrow I'll do teshuvah. Hashem says, get out of my face. I don't want to see you. I don't want to look at you. You're never going to do teshuvah like this. So the point is like this, that we have Yom Kippur, yes, but Yom Kippur is not for people who play these kinds of tricks like this. You know what I mean? Like they do. They play tricks. You know what I mean? I'll do sin to, and they do it every week. Same thing. Saturday night, Sunday. Saturday night, same. Every week, same thing. So what are you playing? You playing a joke on Hashem? You making it into a joke? This is not acceptable to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Adonai leolam, amen ואמן. רבי חנין אמר שאומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לעזור ישראל, לפיכך חיבה להם תורה ומצוות שונה מלא חפץ, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר.